Hey you, it's true. With a first look at the new and upcoming Water Cinderella. So far, every Cinderella that was released in Evertale made it to the SSS tier. Let's see how it goes for this new one that comes with a relatively average speed, I would say, of 377. But once she gets the turn, you better be afraid of this sleep stealth unit. Her first active skill is the Stealth Blast, giving 1 spirit costing 70 time units, which is somewhat unusual for a blast active skill, relatively long I would say. But in terms of damage output, it is the same as usual, 50% damage to one enemy and 300% damage every second time this skill is activated. As the name of the skill already lets on, she gains stealth and also the stealth shield when she uses this skill, and this attack ignores the counterstance status effect and skin passive skills, which yet again is fairly boilerplate for blast type skills. Now stealth itself isn't what it used to be, but with the stealth shield things are more interesting again. The next incoming status effect like sleep or poison is prevented from applying by this. Then we have the next skill, which is called Waves of Sleep, and is basically an upgraded Force Sleep 2 skill, costing 3 spirit, only 50 time units, and granting 2 enemies the sleep status effect for 200 time units, even if they have already slept while on the battlefield. And yet again, Water Cinderella will gain stealth and a stealth shield from this. And the crazy thing is that the only thing that is needed to unlock this is Water Cinderella damaging an enemy with another attack. There's no restriction on if there's already some sleeping enemies, like on some other forced sleep type skills that we've seen so far. And so in combination with the next skill, I think this skill is extremely strong, because the next skill is actually an instant skill. Yet again, this Cinderella comes with a instant storm skill, but this is arguably the strongest yet, I would say. It is called Knockout Storm, actually gives 1 spirit, 1 time unit cost, 500% damage to one enemy, and granting that enemy the sleep status effect, or rather a forced sleep, if they are left with below 50% of max HP. Given that this attack also ignores damage reduction effects, that effect seems quite achievable. However, where this skill is slightly worse than the Savage Storm from Dark Cinderella, for example, is that this skill becomes locked for 50 time units after use. Now you might ask yourself, what's the requirement to use this Knockout Storm? And the requirement is actually that she has stealth or at least 1 charge, both of which is super easy to achieve given her active or passive skills. And then her final skill is Unending Nightmare, costing 1 spirit, 70 time units, dealing 600% damage to a sleeping target, resetting their sleep to 200 time units. So that's where the unending part comes in. And allies gain 4 spirit. Moving on to the passive side, the first one is called Cinderella's Resolve, and she has permanent burn immunity, which is of course a direct nerf to Gilgamesh's Royal Ignition and the following unlock of her execute skill. Water Cinderella enters the battle with stealth, a stealth shield, and 3 charges. She can also only store a maximum of 3 charges. And each time she takes damage from an attack and survives until after the end of the turn, she will heal for 25% of her max HP. And if she would be defeated by an enemy attack or a status effect, she survives instead with 1 HP and consumes a charge. And how does she gain charges? Whenever a sleeping enemy gets the turn or this unit damages a sleeping enemy with an attack, this unit gains 1 charge. So that is a lot of potential to charge up. And then you combine this with her second passive, which is called Water Slaughter. All of her skills are nightmare attacks, so she will not wake up sleeping enemies. And each time she does damage a sleeping enemy with an attack, she will immediately get another turn. And whenever Water Cinderella defeats an enemy with an attack, she will gain stealth and a stealth shield, because why not add a fourth way for her to gain those? So that is Water Cinderella's entire skill set, and you can already see that she is a unit that might just put the entire enemy team permanently to sleep. The Waves of Sleep is insane, the Knockout Storm in combination with that. Then we also have the Unending Nightmare, which produces a lot of spirit. Her getting additional turns when she attacks sleeping units is also interesting. And then there's of course the stealth side of her skill set. Given that Knockout Storm is considered a stealth strike type skill, she can also benefit from being run with somebody like Swimsuit, Dark Jean, or Angel Jean. But let's also say she kind of needs this. She kind of needs to keep most or all enemies permanently asleep, ideally, because she is lacking an execute skill. And she is also lacking somewhat in the healing department. Yes, there's a lot of stealth and stealth shield and charges that she regains easily that can act as her hold ground. But she only really heals whenever she gets attacked, and then she heals by 25%. So she might be perpetually at low HP. Not low enough for somebody like Musashi to kill her off. So she is good in that kind of matchup. But that leaves her very vulnerable to execute skills. So if these executors are not sleeping, they will have a field day taking out Water Cinderella. However, if the enemy does not have any executor units, then Water Cinderella will be extremely hard to take out. She is basically an upgraded Kaguya in that sense, though she does lack a passive way to apply sleep. And while the stealth shield might protect her from poison and sleep a lot, and also she is permanently immune to burn, one thing that she isn't protected from is any stuns, which makes sense because historically water units are relatively weak to stun, also elementally speaking. But that also means that since nowadays most burn teams are also stun teams simultaneously at the same time, they might still have a chance against her, though they cannot rely on Gilgamesh to take her out. This Water Cinderella does seem more specific than her prior versions. The light and the dark one could be used with relative ease in pretty much all types of teams. Meanwhile, Water Cinderella, while you will definitely want her in your sleep team, for other teams it still remains to be seen. So check out my summon or skip review in a few days. And also stay tuned for some top level arena footage on this channel as usual, because we also want to see how she really performs and what her AI will be like. Speaking of like, hit that like button if you found this video helpful. I very much appreciate it, and it helps a lot with the algorithm. Thanks to Helios for the skill animations shown in this video, and as always, to you, thanks for watching.